What inspired you to act? Like that seems like such a...
I was always an artist inside. I was always an artistic kid. I wrote, I painted, I drew from the time I was like little. And even when like G.I. Joe and Star Wars, like I would wake up and continue the story and create these scenarios in my mind. And anybody who would sit there and listen to me, I would tell you the stories. And then that kind of led into like, you know, I found like, you know, like role-playing games. And I started running games for my friends, which is basically being a showrunner. I would write the story, and then my friends would show up with their characters, and then they would play the characters in my show. And I would kind of run the show for them.
Which you still do. You're a big Dungeons and Dragons?
I got back into it. Well, I work for D&D, so I started working for them about 7 years ago as a consultant.
What do you mean working for them?
Well, I'm not like a fanboy. I got hired because I knew so much about their product. I knew more about their product than most of the people who work there. So they started hiring me to help consult.
But how do they know you know that much about Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, if you spend 10 minutes with me and you know what D&D is, you'll figure it out.
Okay, so Sophia has told me this. She says, like, I have a lot of friends. I don't gamble. I don't play games. I'm not good in sports. Yeah. I'm really not good at anything.
What do you do? Other than make tons of money and
I'm not even.
Awesome shows.
I'm doing this for free. Yeah. But the thing about it is, you know, I would live part-time in Santa Monica, and we would walk by the comic book store, and I think I mentioned this to Sophia. I said I walked by and I look in the window like on Friday night, and there was like I'm trying to be politically correct, but every possible nerd.
Yeah.
It was nerd, standing there with a weird hat, their cards, doing things, sitting there seriously, not a female in sight.
No.
And they're all gathered around the table, and this seemed to be their life, and I was always fascinated by them. And I think I told the story at the panel one, and Sophia goes, "That's what my husband does."
Yeah.
I go, with who? And you have like a game of Hollywood types.
Yeah, I guess it's the equivalent of Johnny Carson's poker game.
It isn't.
Oh, it's not?
It's Dungeons and Dragons.
Right. So we all used to play poker. We were all guys who used to get together socially and hang out and smoke cigars and do our thing.
Right.
And now, but as kids, we all grew up playing this game. And then we all took 25, 30-year hiatuses. I didn't touch it for 25 years probably. And then you know, I was trying to get the rights to some books that Dungeons and Dragons owned. When I was, I had a couple of successful films at Warner Brothers. They said, "What do you want to do next?" I said, "I want to do these books." They said, "Do we own them?" I said, "Yes, you do. You have them."
They didn't even know?
No, had no idea. What are they? All right, so I had to like educate them. And then a friend of mine from Carnegie Mellon, a screenwriter named John Castle, he and I got together, and you know, I basically helped him write we kind of co-wrote, I guess if you call it, a spec script to show them what was possible with this property. And you know, I kept chasing those books, and through chasing those books, I wound up getting back, because there were executives that were playing, and then they were like, "Come play on Friday night, we're playing." Okay, yeah, I haven't played in years. So I went and played, and then I started calling other friends. And then once people kind of caught wind of it, I would have meetings with executives who knew that I had this game.
Right.
And I would go to Sony to talk about some project, and the guy would like close the door, look down the hallway, and be like, "I used to play when I was a kid." You know, like they're coming out to me. You know, and I'm like, okay. And can I get into your game? Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't know that much about the game.
Isn't that what Stranger Things is about now?
Well, like, kind of. I mean, so the kids, yeah, in like the first scene of Stranger Things, the kids are playing D&D.
Yeah.
But they're playing this kind of like crazy, like, you know, crazy version of it. But, you know, my version, for example, like the guys who created Game of Thrones, they play in my Friday night game.
Really?
Yeah, so they don't have to run the show. They don't have to come up with the storylines. They just have to have their characters show up, and they're in my show. And they get to like kick back and have fun.
You play for money?
No, you roll dice, and it's collaborative. So, like for example, Vince Vaughn is in my game, and you know, Vince's father. I introduced Vince's father, like his character's father, into the game, and I'd write these huge monologues, and Vince and I just start like improving, and he's speaking to his father, and I'm his father on his deathbed, and his father needs to give him this thing and this piece of information that they're going to carry with them, and then there's this huge war going on, and they kind of like figure out their place within this war and band together.
How many people are sitting there in a game?
My game is way bigger than, ideally you want 4 to 6. Mine is 11, and then I'm the 12th. I'm running the game, but it's like everybody wanted to play. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine was like, he's like, "I got to get in." I'm like, "Great." And then he's like, "Hey, this guy in my kid's carpool wants to play." I go, "Well, who's your who's the guy? And he said, Dan. He wrote Game of Thrones. I said, yeah, all right, he can play. And then Dan came over. Dave threatened to divorce him as a creative partner if he didn't get Dave into my game. So then Dave joined. The Big Show, the big 7'4", you know, Big Show, Paul White. He loves Dungeons and Dragons when he was a kid. He plays. He would fly in from Florida, charter a jet, and come to the games on Friday. And
when you're playing the game, you read these monologues and you...
Yeah, I write them, and you know, so it's
you wear a hat?
You write. I do voices. I do, you know, everything that you would expect. I'm the whole world except for them, and then they get to do whatever they want, which is like chaotic at times. And
have you ever thought about just recording the live game?
Yeah, we thought about it. You know, I think a lot of us. Well, see, what happened was I ran into Jon Favreau at a Bob Iger party.
Okay.
And, you know, Vince and John have been friends forever. And I was like, John, when are you coming over to play? And, of course, he turned to Sophia and said, you still have sex with him? You know, meaning like,
right,
you know, he plays a stupid, nerdy game, you know? And I went, come on, John. I go, come on, come over. And he goes, no, you know, I'm doing The Mandalorian right now. And The Mandalorian, for me, is dungeon mastering as a kid. I write the show the way that I did as a dungeon master. So that's the same thing for me. So anyway, the point is I wound up getting access to those books that I wanted. And I'm working on the pilot. But this is the journey. This is being an actor. This is like, you know, like she was saying, it's like, you know, there's hard professions. You know, I want to run away and join the circus.
I want to come watch Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know
how
to
play. You have to make a character and play. You can't watch.
You have to go.
You got to play.
Dad, you got to go play.
Explain to me what I have to do.
You make a character.
Based on what? Like what?
Whatever you want to be.
What is it like?
But do you want to be do you want to be Conan? Do you want to be Merlin? Do you want to be Gandalf? Do you want to be a Hobbit?
But that's what I'm saying. Do you have to be something that already exists?
But there's a ton of them. And pretty much if you came up with something out of your head, I could figure it out for you.
The old Jew.
We could do that.
Yeah.
But what does the old Jew do when he's in combat? When he fights,
he complains. He says, "Where is there a place to eat?" He you know, like he
removes his foreskin and shoots it at people.
Could do that.
No.
Oh, really?
we can mold a spell into that. We can work a spell
It's like a...
Well, that's it.
We can make
like a ninja star, but
you have been circumcised.
Yeah. And you just chop people in half and it comes back on. Yeah.
We could work this out.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But is everybody? And then do you have to wear a? Do the people that are sitting around this table, are they wearing costumes?
Hell no, man. Come on, we don't do that stuff.
Nah, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I mean, people do it, and I don't want to punch down on like Renaissance fairs and things like that.
Yeah, I think you're
people
thinking of
that.
something different, Dad. You're thinking
I'm thinking of LARPing, which is out in the backyard in my monk robes swinging a foam sword at somebody.
Do you do that?
No.
No.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
No, like listen, this is like, you know,
serious.
Well, it's cool, you know, it's fun, and it's like addictive, and it's
the
a great
fact
time.
that you do it and Vince Vaughn does it. You're making what would be considered. It's like John said to you, you know, you're still having sex with him but overall, it's thought to be incredibly nerdy, right?
Well, which is funny because you know there was a movement a few years ago where, you know, I guess it was part of the feminist movement saying that there were all these gatekeepers in the 1980s who were keeping women from playing Dungeons and Dragons, and it was like I would have stuck my arm in the belt sander in wood shop to get a girl to listen to me talk about Dungeons and Dragons for 30 seconds. Like, please, you know, it just wouldn't happen. Girls weren't interested in that time.
Really?
There's tons of girls that play now.
You know what I'd love to do? I'd love to watch you just describe it to your wife.
Oh yeah, that's
Have you ever got her into a game of it?
Never. I get like 15. She'll go, "Did you win?" And I'll go, you know, like she'll ask somebody, "Did you win?" And they'll go, "Well, we didn't die." And then she'll ask me what happened, and I'll start explaining it, and she'll go, and just shake her head.
Really?
And if I keep talking, she'll go, do you want me to like go upstairs and get my earring tray and start telling you about my earrings for 30 minutes? And I go, all right, fine, forget it.
Really? But do you win? Is there there's no end game? You don't end.
Yo, you can. Yeah, so like the game that I was running pre-pandemic that we ran into the pandemic that we hit timeout on, there's this big god at the end that's trying to take over the world. And there's these cults and minions that worship them.
You know that's happening.
Well, it's kind of topical. Some of it's ripped for that line. And they're getting closer and closer to this big final encounter against this god where some are going to live, some are going to die. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how the story's going to end. The world could be enslaved, or they could win and be heroes.
Wow, it sounds like CNN. That's what it sounds like to me.
Who's Don Lemon in all of this?
I don't know. It's your game. You're actually really funny. Do you still space?